That the average age of the fanciers that showed the birds and also those that were there to look are much younger than what we see in Denmark or in Germany or in England, which I think is a good sign for the hobby that more young people are getting interested in it. So while our breeders are going back in numbers, maybe the fancy pigeon hobby has a bright future here in the GCC countries. About the birds, showing pigeons is new here. You had pigeons for hundreds of years, but showing them is new. So people put their birds in the show and see what happens. It's clear to see that some breeders have a good idea about the standard, what the judges may like, and others, they just, to participate, take the birds that they have and they see how they do. In all the breeds, I judged the Bocaras, but in the Bocaras and also in the Jacobins, the muff tumblers, and especially also in the Oriental frills, the best pigeons are very good birds that would also be able to compete in the rest of the world. There were also birds that were not of a high quality or a good standard, but that's normal in every show, even in Europe. Going round to the breeders, I've seen some of the birds that were in the show, and I've seen a lot of other birds. And everyone that I've met have been very dedicated towards the pigeons. Some are very interested in showing, and others may be more interested in new colors or trading with the birds, like everywhere else. As a show breeder, what is very new to me here is I have not met one breeder that during the show season keeps the hens and the cocks apart. This is something people will have to consider for the future for showing. Because when the birds are in the cages two and two together, they will nest, they will lay in the corner. Some of them will raise babies. This is not what we would call show condition. I think as showing get more normal here, people will have to think in seasons like we do. You have a breeding season, you have a molting season, and you have a show season. And this is one area in which people will have to improve, because when the birds are together all the time, controlling the molt becomes very difficult, because the molt is controlled by hormones and partly by the weather. And if the birds are in a breeding mood, the normal hormones tell them not to molt, because then they cannot take care of the babies. So this is one very big difference from here to where I come from. This time of year we have our cocks in one pen and our hens in the other pen, and then we show them. And then the breeding season starts. We breed for about 5 months, then we separate our birds in July, cocks in one pen, hens in one pen. And then there's another aspect to improving pigeons, which is called culling, or simply killing birds. Poor pigeons should be killed. There is no reason, unless you're working with a genetic factor and you need these birds, there's no reason to keep a low-quality black muff tumbler alive, a low-quality black Bocara alive, or a low-quality red Jacobin. They're never gonna breed any champions. They're gonna take up space from the good birds, and they eat the same. The breed that I keep, the Bocara trumpeters, what I do at home is, when the Bocaras walk off the nest, I can tell how good the muffs will be. So those that have very small boots coming off the nest or stand tall, they're never going to change. We kill them. And we have a lot of people working with color pigeons in Europe. And they start when the babies are 7-8 days old, and they can count the white feathers and the colored feathers. And if they see any big faults, well, there's no need to raise the baby. They kill it before they even put the band on it. We don't bring all birds up. And then if you raise 50 young birds during the breeding season, you may get rid of 20 of them, because you can see from there that they will never be good enough. And then when the molting season starts, the birds start to molt. You see something that you like, you see things you don't like. And all the time, the things that you don't like, we remove these birds to make more room for the good birds and to get them in better condition. And I think people here will have to start considering these ideas that the not so good birds, unless you need them for a color project, there's no need to keep them. To win a pigeon show, you don't need 100 pigeons. You never need more than 6 or 7 pairs in one breed, unless the color is very important. But in the common breeds here, Bocaris, long-faced tumblers, Jacobins, you can easily become a champion if you breed only with 5 pairs of high quality. You cannot win all the colors, but you can easily breed the best bird in the show. And I think that that's maybe what people should concentrate on. Some have asked me, can you be a champion in more breeds, keeping more breeds? And of course you can. It's all a matter how good birds you're working with and how good a breeder you are. Keeping Jacobins, muff tumblers, Bocaris, that does not mean that you cannot raise a good bird or a champion. You can do that. You should keep the pigeons that you want and then focus on the quality. Another thing that I've noticed is I've seen quite a few good birds in different lofts, but the good birds in each loft have been relatively few. I think maybe that some of the people that have the good birds should talk together and say, what happens if we take your hen, my cock, put them together and split the babies? That could breed a good quality. Also, some of the good birds that I've seen here have been paired together with birds of what I would say very low quality. And I really think I know it's a little bit different, but what I think is maybe people should take their 4 or 5 best cocks and the 4 or 5 best hens, and then look how they will fit each other, and then make pairs out of this, like in the racing home, or mating the best to the best. Because when you have a good one, it's a shame to put it on a not so good one, because we work against nature. So every chance we give the bird to go back to nature, which means poor, they will take it. For the future, now this was only the second show here, and for the future, yeah, for the future, I think it'll be exciting.
Blir istället, Klaus. Blir.